Hello everyone. So, time to update my Sacred Seal tier list. I am a bit late on this one and I'm definitely sorry about this. I just couldn't really do it because I didn't know what color the seals were. I did not know what were the resources needed to upgrade them essentially. Now, before we start I would like to point out one thing. If you've been waiting for those seals to be added to the forge, they are now added to the forge. You can now create them. Flashing Blade especially is good, as is obvious here. If you want to know my thoughts on them, it's in an earlier episode of Sacred Seals. So, let's move on to why people are here, shall we? So, let's start with Speed Def. Now, Speed Def is one of the weakest, if not the weakest, of the bunch. In some aspect, but in other aspect it's pretty good. The problem that this seal has is it doesn't have a lot of good user of it. User that really do like this seal that comes to mind would be, Tana to some extent, Myrrh to some extent, because Myrrh like to have the extra speed to just plug those doubles that are like Bolt Fighter and such. If they have 5 more speed than you, Bolt Fighter will just completely ignore Great Flame. And the speed kind of prevents that a little, and the extra 2 points of defense kind of just makes Great Flame more consistent. Other good users could be, to some extent, Ira. Pretty much any character that are already somewhat quick, but have also a decent amount of bulk can use it. Tana, Brave Lucina, Nephany comes to mind. Minerva could also somewhat use it. Characters like these. Ines also. Trying to think. Spring Alphonse. There's a decent deal of character that can use it. The problem is, like I said, it requires a typical specific stat line of like, I'd say, in my opinion, you want to have 35 speed or so and like 30 defense. This is where it's really useful. Outside of characters like, well, Myrrh, because Myrrh is a bit of a special case here. So yeah, other than that, there's also Legendary Actor to some extent can use it if you have speed minus on him. But if you're using him for scoring, it's a bit iffy on that part because it's a 160 SP cost skill. Yeah, that's the depressing part about it. So if you run it, sorry to say, but you're going to go down in score. So there's that. But yeah, other than that, if you're using the said unit in a Arena Assault format, it's definitely gonna be working perfectly. Moving to darting stance, and I'm very surprised stance skills of all things are now becoming seals. Fierce stance is gonna be nice, sturdy stance also if they ever do combos. So, what can you do with darting stance? Well, it's a 200 SP skill for one, which means, again, it's a bit shafted on that regard. If you have 300 SP skill, you can actually run this perfectly fine, as long as you keep your prep weapon. So, yeah, it's not bad, but again, it's kind of the same kind of sets. Oh, and Quan was another unit that could use speed def pretty well. But yeah, darting stance is the type of seal that, again, kind of want to have a decent-ish amount of speed. The nice part about this kind of seal is that, well, it can be good on characters that are somewhat quick, but not quick enough, and just requires a bit more speed. This is, in a way, can become a quick riposte wannabe seal. Obviously, it's definitely worse than quick riposte, because it doesn't break stuff like Great Flame, it doesn't break stuff like Thunder Armads, and Wary Fighter completely blocks it. But on the other way, it is an extra 6 speed, so if your unit is quick already on their feet, they can definitely use this a lot better. This is really good on characters like Amelia, for example, who has a speed stat, and in tandem with Special Fighter can be really good if you have already quick repose taken on something else. Another thing that's really nice for this seal that actually makes it better than quick repose on certain characters, there is no HP threshold. So that's good on that regard, but yeah. It's the kind of seal you'll be running on very specific unit. Mur can also use it if you have a speed minus Mur. In fact, this is actually a really good seal. It patches up her speed and makes it so you block Bolt Fighter a bit more consistently. I know I'm bringing up Mur a lot here, but I figured that's pretty much the unit that uses it best. And also if you have an attack plus speed minus Hector, legendary Hector, which is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. It is the second best Bane you can have with attack plus, but it's kind of shite in the way that you get Bolt Fightered by certain units as a result. Darting Stance can fix this. And the guy comes with 2 300 SP skills, so if you run Osteus Pulse on top of DC, you can run this without losing any score. This requires you to keep using Thunder Armads, but then again, why would you be using something else than Thunder Armads with this? You gain nothing otherwise, so, you know. But yeah, already quick characters that you just don't want to be running quick repose can really use this. Like I said, Amelia. Winter Robin is also a great choice. Nephany can also make use of this somewhat. I say somewhat because she can be a bit iffy in the level of bulk. It's mostly armored unit that I can think of. Legendary Tiki is also a pretty good user of it because her speed is already so good. It's the kind of skill you're going to combo with Special Fighter essentially. Because the strength of Special Fighter is just the extra 2 charge on every phase of the combat, and if you fail to actually double naturally on initiation, you can just, lay back on this one. But yeah, I believe that's it. Oh, and also I guess I should say, this probably made Chaz orgasm to see this skill. In a seal form. Now his fucking Sigurd can run Darting Stance 6. Oh baby. Anyway. Brazen Attack Res. Now this seal is insane. In case you haven't noticed, if you look in the colorless side of the things, we only had 2 seal in S and up. And those 2 seals were literally impossible to upgrade. Yikes. But Brazen Attack Res fixed that, and I'm not sure if IS listens to my video, but it seems that they realized a few things since the start of their whole thing. They basically saw how many red seals are already this strong. Let's stop this, and if we have like attack res like this, you can buff attack while also taking the colorless spot, which colorless was sorely lacking, and that was actually one of my complaints with it. So I'm glad to see that they are smart enough that they realize this much. Brazen Attack Res is a fantastic seal. As a matter of fact, it can be a bit broken on certain characters. For example, take Hallfox. Pretty shite stat line in quotation. You run Attack Res Seal, Attack Def with his weapon, Def Res with his A slot, which can be obtained by 5-starring Akana, and you have plus 14 in every stats. Straight up. Add that with Arena bonus and Summoner support, that's plus 20 attack, Def Res, and 15 HP. Let that sink in. That's 75 BST increase. Or I guess I should say rating. This also becomes really good for characters that you basically want to be initiating with and such. There is a set I'm going to be running with this for Ira, probably one of my mainstay unit for the longest time on this channel, outside of George, obviously. And the best part about this is I can just run Brazen Attack Def and Attack Res. If you have been staying around this channel for a long time, you all know Ira's at her best 175% HP. Running Brazen in tandem with this is just a ton of synergy. And if I'm using Staying Edge, I don't lose or gain anything from distant counter when it comes down to scoring. So I can run double Brazen. Completely safe, lose no score at all, unless I use Iris Blade, which is a shit weapon anyway. And that's 14 extra attack. I've killed Ardens while doing 0 times 2 to them with my Ira. How do you feel about adding 14 attack on top of that? Oh, and 7 def res, because then I become extremely bulky on multi-phases. That's the kind of shit you can do with it. Another character that can really abuse this are characters that have instant follow-ups. Ephraim comes to mind, and Myrrh. Halloween Myrrh, that is. 14 attack with that type of effect is absolutely insane. Myrrh has Vengeful Fighter after all, and on top of that, her weapon gives follow-ups. So, as a result, if you run Brazen Attack Res and Attack Def, it's really good. Brave Vector is also a great user of it, because you have an extra 14 attack multi-phases. At least on his base kit. If you run something like Special Fighter, like I believe Linking is doing, it might not be as good, but it's still a good option. There's just a lot of things you can do with this seal. The only danger with the aforementioned characters is if you run Aether, you can be kicked out of the Brazen range. Be careful on that. But yeah, I've made a Myrrh that was actually able to hit something like 60 defense and 60 res on Unit Builder, and I was like, oh, that is disgusting, especially since I can kind of do it. My Myrrh does not have merges, but she has the right IV spread for it, so... I suppose that is an option if I want to. But yeah, really good seal overall. It's mostly because you can combo it with other seals. Also another character that uses it fantastically is Celica, because like I said, Celica is a terrible user of double Brazen back then. But now that she has Brazen Attack Res as a seal, you can still run Fury, instantly go down into Brazen and Desperation range, and on top of it, I had 14 attacks, 7 speed, and 7 res. The res doesn't really matter, but if you don't go HP minus, because you go HP minus typically if you go for high merge and Celica, so your Desperation state remains consistent. But if you don't do this, res minus is probably the best bane that you have on her at low merge, and attack res will basically lower the chance of getting one-shotted by dragons if you have to take another blow in Desperation. No, it's not that much useful, but it's good to keep in mind, just in case. So yeah, it is a really fantastic seal. There are so many characters that can use it. Like I said, anyone with speed can use it. Legendary Tiki also is really good with it. Amelia is also really good with it. I know I'm bringing that up a lot, but that's just how it is. Zelgus can be also insane with it. If you pair that with Black Luna, it makes it even more consistent in killing in one-shots. Though, I will say one thing about Brazens, it's usually much better in the hand of the player. That holds true with Darting Stance as well. If it's not in the hand of the player, it's pretty much shit. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, that's just basically what it is. But yeah. Not much else to say. Oh yeah, Legendary Ephraim can also use it really well. As can Base Ephraim, depending on the set you run on him. As a matter of fact, Legendary Ephraim is one of the best user of it because he is so bulky. He can get horse buffs on top of it, then he just fucks off at the end of the earth, and then he just basically gets like instant follow-up, 14 attack, 7 defense, 7 res. Makes him damn near unkillable if you run something like Heavy Blade as well. In his A slot, you can become, well, you lose the double Brazen, but if you run Heavy Blade instead, and with like a Brazen in his Seal slot, it can basically proc A for a lot easier as well. There's so many things you can do with Legendary Ephraim as a result. It's actually really good. Like I said, plenty of characters can use it. Really, even if you're like mostly defensive, if it's in your hands, and you're running Quick Riposte, it's good. Well, not Quick Riposte, but like, I guess it would come down to if you have Vengeful Fighter, because Vengeful Fighter, it has an HP threshold that's low enough that you can go into Brazen without getting kicked out of it. The QR is you have a 10% threshold where you can use this, and it's probably only gonna work once with both of them together, so it's a bit iffy on that regard. Legendary Tiki especially does not really want attack depth, she wants attack speed, especially if you run Special Fighter. Now if you keep her base kit, that's completely fine, but Special Fighter is what truly pushes her over the edge personally. But yeah, I believe that's all I have to say about it. Yeah, that's it. It's only a 16-minute video, but I'm just talking about 3 skill. What do you want? As usual, if you wish to join my Discord, it's gonna be in the description below. And I believe I should also point this out because a person came to my stream last time and was kind of like, wait, you're still streaming? Yeah, whenever I stream, I don't stream for 2 to 3 hours. I find that just a waste of my time if I do this. No, in my case, when I do a stream of 12 hours, bare minimum, usually. If I do less than 12 hours, it's because my sleep schedule is completely fucked. Because I've been working either on video or just have not been sleeping when I should. Hooray for fucking myself over, isn't it? But yeah, that's about it. If you have any question about what I said, just leave it in the comments. I'll see you guys later. Since then, have a nice one, y'all.